I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Global Book Network, we dive into Kobo. It is a bold, mind-bending sci-fi adventure where humans are the pets. It's written by a terrific author. His name is Richard Allen, and he imagines a galaxy where humans are bred, sold, and enslaved by alien overlords. If you love dystopian fiction, deep philosophical themes, and stunning world building, this one's for you. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him on TV today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below the interview. Richard, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me. It's a
How did
pleasure.
you come up with the pleasure to have you on the show? How did you come up with the idea to create a story where humans are treated like pets?
Well, my wife and I have had pets, dogs, for many, many years. Now we have two, Tula and Blue. Um, and it occurred to me some time ago, what would humans be like uh, if we were living with owners in similar circumstances where we had no language, we had no community, we just and no culture. Uh, and would we sleep 20 hours a day? Would we relish our single bowl of kibble every morning and night? So anyway, so I thought about that and I thought that might make an interesting story. So I started fashioning a story around it.
Wonderful. Talk to us a little bit about the grobs and how you envision their culture.
I envisioned the grobs, and I wrote this book to address the question of, what humans would be like in similar circumstances. So the grobs are bipedal creatures, mostly reptilian, with a large trunk, but two arms, two hands, three fingers each. Um, but culturally and intellectually and in terms of their technology and civilization, very much like our present civilization. So my main character, Kobo, starts off the book at age 14, and he he's having a dream about hunting in the savannah, hunting these huge creatures with big long trunks. And then he wakes up in the on the his owner's bed and runs downstairs and jumps in the female grob's lap. Um, and So they're very creatures very much like us.
Very cool, very imaginative. Is Kobo based on anyone? Any real person at
No,
all? No. Okay.
no, maybe
Right.
maybe one of our yellow labs.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Talk to us about what ethical and moral themes you're hoping readers will grapple with when they read the book.
Well, I guess the main ethical question is it right to enslave other creatures that are, or make pets of other creatures that are equally intelligent? Of course, the grobs don't realize that their human pets have intelligence comparable to their own. Um, but it sort of raises the question of whether that's legitimate, and whether employing their human animals as workers in mines, is that slavery, or is that simply the way we use our domestic animals? Um, that's one question. In a sequel that I've just finished and has been in the process of being printed, published, um, the other humans exploring from Earth come across these humans in this planet 20,000 light years away, um, and the explorers face the question of whether they should make contact with the Grob civilization.
Mm.
And they have this big debate among the 2,000 passengers on this exploratory ship. about whether they should leave their fellow humans in servitude to these grobs or not. So you'll have to read that book to find out how they answer that question. But anyway, that's one of the moral and ethical issues.
Wonderful.
Um,
So this is going to be part of a series. You've got two books so far. Are you envisioning more?
I'm working on the second sequel.
Second sequel. Okay. So
when
that would be part
when
three. Awesome.
in the second sequel, which I'm working on, these human explorers take 150 of these humans from other planet who'd been pets and slaves back to Earth and arrive back there 20,000 years later, which is roughly 40,000 years from the present. And I'm trying to decide what the world and humanity will be like in 40,000 years. What do you think?
I don't know. It's what's happened over the last, 50 years is quite amazing that we've gone from an
Yeah.
analog society to a digital society, and self-driving cars are around the corner. All of the things we dreamed about as a kid. Dick Tracy had his radio watch, but now we have watches that do that plus 1,000 things
Exactly.
more. So
Exactly.
the
The last 50 years have been the most revolutionary in terms of technological development in human history, I think.
Yeah. And most of
Anyway.
that's happened within the last 30 years or so.
Yes.
So it's
No.
it's amazing. So change is exponential. And your book is
Yeah.
intriguing. It reminds me a little bit in some ways of Planet of the Apes, in a
Yeah.
very,
I
very
don't think so.
positive
Not
way.
really. Yeah.
Well, just because those were an enslaved people as well, and they were
Yeah.
humans that were not treated as pets, but almost treated as prisoners.
Yeah.
But it's I love sci-fi. I do a good Charlton Heston impression too. Talk,
Let's see it.
oh, get your hands off me, you damn dirty ape! I actually did that.
Perfect.
Yeah, I did that for his son, Fraser Heston, during an interview one time, which was quite fun. Talk to us a little bit about Kobo's evolution from a passive pet to a rebellious fighter. I think that's an amazing part of it.
Well, um, in the book, um, he when he becomes sexually mature at around the age 14, his owners acquire a female human, um, Ra, and who's a year older than he is. And over time, they have uh, babies. And the first baby is sold as we would sell our dogs puppies. Um, and the humans are obviously distraught. And uh, then they have a second baby a few years later. And but in the meantime, they come across this artifact that the grobs had brought back from the planet where they first found these humans, where the humans had been abandoned and lived in primitive conditions or crashed on this other planet and lived in primitive conditions until they were found by these grobs. And so the grobs brought back these emerald stones that they found um, nearby the human settlements. And the grobs who brought back several hundred of these stones, told them around as jewelry. Um, and so Ra, the female, picks it up from their curio cabinet one day when the grobs are out, and it starts to glow. And a face of a woman appears and says, "Hello, I'm Joan. What's your name?" Um, and it's a teaching device that human civilization had developed for their pioneer explorers to teach their children. And through this teaching device, uh, which interacts with the person who's holding the stone or the first person who held it. And over time, over several years, they learn to speak Middle English and read and write, and Ra particularly, who's a scholar by nature, absorbs. They both absorb what this stone has to teach them, and after that, when they have their second baby and 3 years and raise it for 3 years, the grobs sell it again, and that completely enrages Kobo, who attacks the male grob with a large knife and stabs it into his face. And the next thing he knows, he's waking up in a ship, a spaceship that's taking him to another planet in the system, Loma, where the grobs have a mining industrial complex, and he is sent to work in the mines. And I wouldn't necessarily call him rebellious, like our pets. He grew up accepting his condition, whatever it was, without too much questioning. But once they learn to speak and communicate and learn about little about human history, he starts to ask questions. So he's not necessarily rebellious, but he discovers evidence that some of the other slaves in this human slaves in this mining complex can communicate like he can. So somebody else must have had one of these stones. So eventually, after many adventures, he finds this human community who's hiding from the grobs in some other part of the planet or nearby the industrial area. So over that period of time, he evolves more and more, but still, there's so many things. This teaching device, which is designed for children, doesn't explain to him about sex or death or so he's still in ignorance and has to learn all of those things as does. And eventually, at the end of the book, he reconnects with Ra, his first mate. So anyway, that's how he does it.
His evolution is very, very intriguing, no doubt. Talk to us a little bit about your evolution as an attorney to a writer. You've argued 10 Supreme Court cases. Did your legal background influence this story at all in the storytelling process?
I would say not so much. After law school, I went into the Army for almost a year in the reserves. And then I got out and I had an offer of a federal clerkship, but I had a year to spend between the Army and the clerkship. So I got a job at a prep school, a high school, and I taught science fiction, which was one of my big interests back then, and constitutional law, two different classes. So it was my interest in science fiction, I think, mainly that inspired this story more than my legal career.
Wonderful. Talk to us a little bit about your vision for this series. Do you envision it as a TV series or a series of films, perhaps?
I haven't thought that much about it, but if Steven Spielberg would like to make a movie out of it, I'd be happy to have him do it.
Exactly. Well, it's a great story. I think you've got great characters, great locations, and of course, great conflicts as well. I think, and a unique story. So I think this would be a terrific series of films. So yeah, Steven Spielberg, Hollywood, if you're listening, this is a set of books that is ready to go. The name of the book we've been talking about today is called Kobo. It is written by Richard Allen. It is a thrilling sci-fi epic that flips the human experience on its head. Richard, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you very much, Logan. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure's been all mine. I appreciate your wit, your wisdom, and your insight. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford for the Global Book Network. So long for now.